Hi guys, just going to go over the exercise you're going to do here called the isometric calf drop. So very quickly, I just want to explain when you're in this position here, when you're lowering yourself down into position, or the lowering phase of any movement is generally when the muscle's in its lengthened position. When you're coming up like this, the muscle's in its shortened position. It's called the concentric phase of the movement. The eccentric phase, or the eccentric part of a movement, is when the muscle's at its strongest. In other words, it can hold the most load, okay, and it's the concentric phase that is going to limit you. So, for example, if you're doing a calf raise, whatever weight you're holding, you're going to stop when you can no longer come up. On a bench press, you'll be limited by what you can press back up, as opposed to how much weight your body can control on the way down. You'll be able to control more on the way down because the muscle, as I said, the eccentric component is stronger. So we are going to target the eccentric phase only. And the reason we're going to do that is because there's been a number of studies done recently. One in particular came out last year, and it was investigating the differences in an adaptability between strength in the muscles and strength in the tendons. And what it found was really quite interesting, is that in the eccentric phase, because if you're just always going to be limited by what you can do in the concentric phase, you're not giving your muscles a chance to be pushed beyond or pushed closer to what they can do in the eccentric phase. So, and what has transpired is that it's the eccentric phase and loading it into that eccentric heavy area that allows for greater adaptations in the tendon stiffness. So in other words, if you're holding this position with a weight, so this weight is not a weight I can do calf raises with, but I can hold the eccentric phase in an isometric position for about 30 to 45 seconds. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow over time for adaptations to occur, not just in the muscle, but in the tendon itself. So the most recent study showed there was about a 13% greater adaptation in tendon stiffness when you went in to do heavier isometrics with an eccentric weight or an eccentric position where you can hold more weight on. So we're going to focus on that for a couple of weeks to allow for a bit of adaptations to occur for the tendon.